Daniel Park was alone. He had been alone for 3 years now, working at a small salvage station on a forgotten moon called Kepler 7. The moon was cold and gray, with no trees, no rivers, and no other humans. Just rocks, dust, and the endless black sky filled with stars. Daniel did not mind being alone. He was 24 years old, thin and quiet, with messy black hair and tired eyes. He was not good with people. He never knew what to say. He always said the wrong thing at the wrong time. But machines were different. Machines made sense. They did not judge him. They did not laugh at him. They just needed to be fixed, and Daniel was very good at fixing things. His station was small. It had a workshop, a sleeping room, a kitchen, and a large hangar where he stored broken ships and parts. Every few weeks, a supply ship would come and drop off food and tools. The pilot never stayed long. Nobody wanted to stay on KEPLR-7. Daniel had accepted his life. He woke up, ate his breakfast, worked on machines, ate his dinner, and went to sleep. Every day was the same. He told himself he was happy. But sometimes, late at night, he would look up at the stars and feel a strange pain in his chest. He did not have a word for it. He just knew something was missing. One night, everything changed. Daniel was in his workshop, fixing an old engine, when he heard a terrible sound. It was like thunder, but louder and angrier. The ground shook. His tools fell from the table. He ran outside and looked up at the sky. A ship was falling. It was huge, much bigger than any ship he had ever seen. It was on fire, leaving a trail of smoke and flame across the dark sky. Daniel watched as it crashed into the ground about 2 miles away. The impact made a flash of light so bright that he had to cover his eyes. For a long moment, Daniel just stood there. His heart was beating fast. He knew he should call for help. He knew he should stay where it was safe. But something pulled him forward. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was something else. He got into his small transport vehicle and drove toward the crash. The ship was destroyed. It had broken into many pieces, scattered across the gray rocks. Smoke rose from the wreckage. Daniel walked slowly through the debris, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. He saw strange metal, strange symbols, strange technology. This was not a human ship. This was alien. Then he heard a sound. It was weak, like a groan. It came from inside the largest piece of the wreckage. Daniel climbed through a hole in the metal and found himself in what looked like a control room. And there, lying on the floor, was the most incredible creature he had ever seen. She was huge. At least 8 feet tall, maybe more. Her skin was covered in scales that shone like copper in his flashlight. She had a long tail, powerful legs, and 2 great wings folded against her back. Her face was both beautiful and terrifying. It was almost human, but with sharp features, golden eyes, and small horns on her forehead. She looked like a dragon from the old stories Daniel had read as a child. She was hurt. There was dark blood on her side, and her breathing was shallow. Her golden eyes opened slowly and looked at Daniel. He expected her to attack him, to roar, to breathe fire. But she just looked at him with an expression he did not expect. It was not anger. It was not fear. It was something like hope. "Help," she said. Her voice was deep and rough, but he understood her. "Please." Daniel did not think. He just moved. He ran back to his vehicle and brought his medical kit. He did not know alien medicine, but he knew how to stop bleeding. He cleaned her wound and wrapped it tight. She watched him the whole time, saying nothing. When he finished, she spoke again. "You are human." "Yes," Daniel said. His voice was shaking. "I'm Daniel. Daniel Park." "I am Yura," she said, the elder sister of the Seraphim. Daniel did not know what that meant, but it sounded important. Your ship is destroyed, he said. You can't fly it anymore. I know, Yura said. She tried to sit up but fell back with a grunt of pain. I have nowhere to go. Daniel looked at her. She was an alien, a giant dragon woman from some unknown world. He should be afraid. He should call for help and let someone else deal with this. But when he looked into her golden eyes, he saw something he recognized. He saw loneliness. He saw pain. He saw someone who had nobody. My station is close, he said. You can stay there. Until you heal. Until we figure out what to do. Yura stared at him for a long moment. You would help me? A stranger? A creature you have never seen before? Daniel shrugged. You asked for help. So I'm helping. For the first time, something changed in Yura's face. It was not quite a smile, but it was close. You are either very brave or very stupid little human. Probably both. Daniel said it took a long time to move her. She was heavy, and every step hurt her. But finally, they made it back to the station. Daniel gave her his bed because it was the only one big enough for her. He slept on the floor in the workshop. That first night, Daniel lay awake for hours. He could hear her breathing in the next room. It was strange and scary and somehow exciting. For 3 years, he had been alone. Now there was someone else here. Someone who needed him. He did not know what would happen next. He did not know anything about her or her people, or why she had crashed on this forgotten moon. But for the first time in a very long time, Daniel felt something he had almost forgotten. He felt alive in the morning. He made breakfast. He was not sure what dragon women ate, but he made eggs and toast and hoped for the best. When he brought the food to her, Yura looked at it with confusion. What is this? Breakfast, Daniel said. Human food. Try it. She picked up a piece of toast with her clawed hand and took a small bite. Her golden eyes went wide. This is good, she said, sounding surprised. Daniel smiled. It was small, but it was real. I'm glad you like it. And so began the strangest friendship Daniel Park had ever known. 3 weeks passed on the cold moon of Kepler 7. Yura's wound healed slowly, but she grew stronger every day. Daniel spent most of his time in the hangar, working on her broken ship. He had pulled the largest pieces from the crash site and was trying to understand how they worked. The technology was far beyond anything humans had built, but Daniel was patient. He studied every wire, every panel, every strange glowing crystal. Yura watched him work sometimes. She would sit on a large metal crate, her tail wrapped around her legs, her golden eyes following his hands as he moved. You are skilled, she said one day. For a human. Daniel looked up from his work. Thanks. I think, among my people, those who work with their hands are not respected, Yura said. Warriors are honored. Builders are not. That seems unfair, Daniel said. Yura shrugged her massive shoulders. It is the way of the Seraphim. We are a proud race. We conquered many worlds. We believe strength is everything. And what do you believe? Daniel asked. Yura was quiet for a moment. I'm not sure anymore. That is why I am here. That is why I was exiled. Daniel stopped working. Exiled? What happened? Yura's eyes grew distant. I was promised to a male named Talon, a powerful commander. Our union would have made our family stronger. But Talon is cruel. He enjoys pain. He enjoys breaking things. I refused to bond with him. So they kicked you out? Yes, Yura said. An elder sister who refuses to obey is worthless. I was given a ship and told to never return. I have been flying alone for many months. Then my ship broke, and I fell here. Daniel felt a strange anger in his chest. That's terrible. You shouldn't be punished for saying no. Yura looked at him with curiosity. Among humans, Females can refuse? Of course, Daniel said. Everyone can refuse. That's basic freedom. Yura made a sound that was almost like a laugh. Your species is very strange, Daniel Park. As the days went on, they talked more. Yura told him about her world. It was a hot planet with red skies and great mountains. The Seraphim lived in massive stone cities built into the mountainsides. They flew through the air and hunted giant beasts. They had lived for thousands of years and believed themselves to be the greatest species in the galaxy. Daniel told her about Earth. He told her about oceans and forests and cities filled with millions of people. He told her about music and art and the old movies he loved to watch. Yura had never heard of movies. Daniel showed her one on his small screen. It was a silly film about a man who falls in love with a woman on a sinking ship. This is foolish, Yura said. The male should have saved himself. Love is a weakness. Maybe, Daniel said. But it's also what makes us human. Yura looked at him strangely, but said nothing. One evening, Daniel was in the kitchen making dinner when Yura walked in. She had to bend down to fit through the door. She stood there, looking at him with an expression he could not read. Daniel Park, she said. I must tell you something. Daniel turned around. Okay, what is it? Yura crossed her arms over her chest. Her scales seemed to glow in the dim light. I have not had intercourse in 16 months. My body requires release. You are adequate. We should mate. Daniel dropped a spoon he was holding. It clattered on the floor. He stared at her with wide eyes. His face turned red. His mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Is something wrong? Yura asked. Among my people, this is a normal request. You are healthy. You are young. You have helped me. It would be a fair exchange. That's not. We don't. Daniel stammered. He picked up the spoon and put it down. Then he picked it up again. His hands were shaking. Yura tilted her head. You do not find me attractive. I am considered beautiful among my kind. No, yes, you're... Daniel took a deep breath. It's not that. Humans don't just. We have to get to know each other first. We have to date. Yura repeated the word like it was from another language. What is date? Daniel ran his hand through his hair. It's when two people spend time together. They talk. They eat meals. They watch movies. They learn about each other. And then, if they both feel the same way, they become closer. This seems very complicated, Yura said. Why not simply mate and see if you are compatible? Because that's not how it works for us, Daniel said. And also, I haven't... He stopped. His face was now so red, it was almost purple. Yura's golden eyes went wide. You have never mated? Not once? Daniel shook his head. He wanted to disappear. He wanted the floor to open up and swallow him. This was the most embarrassing moment of his entire life. But Yura did not laugh. She did not mock him. Instead, she looked at him with something like wonder. Among the Seraphim, inexperience is a weakness, she said. But you do not seem weak to me. You cross the dock alone to help a stranger. You face a creature 10 times your strength without fear. You have given me shelter and food and asked for nothing. That is not weakness. Daniel looked at her. So, you're not disappointed? Yura made that rumbling sound again, the one that was almost a laugh. I think you are the strangest creature I have ever met, Daniel Park. You confuse me. But I am not disappointed. She walked closer to him. Even bent over, she towered above him. She reached out one clawed hand and gently touched his face. Her scales were warm, like sun-heated stone. Perhaps, she said, you will teach me this human dating. It sounds interesting. Daniel swallowed hard. Okay, I can try. Good, Yura said. She pulled back her hand and smiled, showing all her sharp teeth. Now, what is for dinner? I am hungry. That night, they ate together. Daniel talked about his childhood. Yura talked about her first battle. They were very different from very different worlds. But somehow, sitting in that small kitchen on that forgotten moon, they understood each other. When Daniel went to sleep that night, he could not stop thinking about her. About her golden eyes and her warm scales and her strange, honest way of speaking. He was not sure what was happening. But he knew his life would never be the same. 5 weeks after the crash, Daniel had made good progress on Yura's ship. The main engine was almost working. The navigation system was repaired. He told her it would be ready in another 2 weeks, maybe 3. Yura did not seem happy about this news. Daniel noticed that she became quieter as the ship got closer to being fixed. She spent more time watching him work. She asked more questions about human life. She seemed to be in no hurry to leave. Daniel did not want her to leave either. He had grown used to having her around. Her heavy footsteps in the morning, her strange questions about human food, the way she would sit close to him when they watched movies together. For the first time in 3 years, the station felt like a home instead of a prison. They had been on 3 dates now. At least, Daniel called them dates. The first was a walk outside the station, looking at the stars while he pointed out the constellations he knew. The second was cooking dinner together. Yura had tried to help, but she had crushed the vegetables with her claws and burned the meat with her fire breath. They laughed about it and ate sandwiches instead. The third was watching another movie. This time, Yura did not call it foolish. She sat very close to Daniel, her tail wrapped around his leg, and when the movie ended, she said it was beautiful. Daniel was falling for her. He knew it was crazy. She was an 8-foot dragon woman from another world. But he could not help how he felt. When she looked at him, when she smiled, when she touched his hand with her warm claws, his heart beat faster. He was starting to think she felt the same way. Then the hunters came. It was early morning. Daniel was in the hangar, working on the final repairs. Yura was in the kitchen, making breakfast. She had learned how to make toast without burning it, and she was very proud of this. Suddenly, a shadow fell over the hangar. Daniel looked up and saw a massive ship descending from the sky. It was black and silver, shaped like a sword, and it was 10 times bigger than anything in his hangar. Yura! He shouted. We have company. She came running. When she saw the ship, her face went pale. Her golden eyes filled with fear. Talon, she whispered. He found me. The ship landed outside the station. The ground shook. Then a door opened, and they came out. 6 Seraphim warriors, all of them huge and covered in battle armor. They carried weapons that glowed with strange energy. And at the front of them was the biggest Seraphim Daniel had ever seen. Talon was nearly 9 feet tall. His scales were dark red, like dried blood. His eyes were black and cold. He wore a crown of metal spikes on his head, and his claws were long and sharp. When he smiled, it was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator looking at its prey. Elder Sister Yura, Talon said. His voice was deep and cruel. You have led me on a long chase. 16 months across the galaxy. But the chase is over now. Yura stepped forward. She held her head high, but Daniel could see her hands shaking. I will not go with you, Talon. I refuse. Talon laughed. It was an ugly sound. You refused once. Look where it got you. Hiding on a dead moon with a pathetic little human. He looked at Daniel with disgust. What is this creature? Your pet? He is my friend, Yura said. And you will not touch him. Friend? Talon spat on the ground. The elder sister has fallen far. Once you were proud. Now you share your den with insects." He raised his hand. The 6 warriors moved forward, their weapons ready. "You have 2 choices, Yura. Come with me now and face judgment. Or fight and die here. The human will die either way. His kind means nothing." Daniel's heart was pounding. He had no weapons. He had no armor. He was just a mechanic. Against these warriors, he was nothing. But then he remembered something. He had been alone on this station for 3 years. He knew every wire, every system, every hidden corner. And over the past weeks, he had been busy. Very busy. "Yura," he said quietly, "get ready to run inside." "On my signal." "What?" She whispered. "Daniel, no. You cannot fight them." "I'm not going to fight them," he said. "Just trust me." Talon stepped closer. "Enough talking. Take her." The warriors charged forward. Daniel pulled a small device from his pocket and pressed the button. Everything happened at once. First, the electromagnetic pulse hit. It was a weapon Daniel had built from old ship parts. It sent out a wave of energy that shut down all electronic systems in the area. The warriors' weapons went dead. The lights on their armor went dark. Even Talon's ship went silent. Second, the turrets came online. Daniel had spent weeks connecting the station's old defense systems to a backup power source. Now, 6 plasma turrets rose from the ground, each one pointing at a different warrior. Third, the lockdown activated. Heavy metal doors slammed shut around the landing area, trapping the warriors inside a circle of walls and weapons. Talon roared with anger. "What is this? What have you done?" Daniel stepped forward. He was shaking, but he kept his voice steady. In his hand, he held a welding torch. It was not much of a weapon, but it was something. "Here's what's going to happen," Daniel said. "You're going to get back in your ship and leave. Right now." Talon stared at him. "You dare threaten me? I am Commander Talon of the Seraphim Empire. I have conquered worlds. I have killed thousands. And right now, you're standing in my home," Daniel said. "Those turrets are loaded with plasma charges. 1 shot won't kill a Seraphim, but 6 shots at once? I don't know. Want to find out?" Talon's black eyes burned with hate. "You're bluffing. You wouldn't sacrifice yourself." Daniel looked at Yura. She was staring at him with wide eyes. He could see fear there, but also something else. Something like wonder. He looked back at Talon. "Try me." For a long moment, nobody moved. The turrets hummed. The warriors stood frozen. Talon's claws flexed. Then Talon lowered his hand. "This isn't over, insect. I will return with a fleet. I will burn this moon to ash. And I will make you watch as I take what is mine." He turned and walked back to his ship. The warriors followed. The engines roared to life, and the ship rose into the sky. Within seconds, it was gone. Daniel's legs gave out. He fell to his knees, his whole body shaking. The welding torch dropped from his hand. Yura was beside him in an instant. She knelt down and wrapped her wings around him, pulling him close. Her scales were warm against his skin. "You fool," she said. Her voice was rough with emotion. "You beautiful, stupid fool. You could have died." "I know," Daniel said. "But I wasn't going to let him take you." Yura pulled back and looked at him. Her golden eyes were wet. Daniel had never seen a dragon cry before. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you risk everything for me?" Daniel thought about the question. He thought about 3 years of loneliness. He thought about the night she crashed into his life. He thought about her smile, her laugh, the way she made him feel like he mattered. "Because you're worth it," he said. Yura made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. Then she leaned down and pressed her forehead against his. "You are the strangest human," she whispered. "And I do not want to lose you." They stayed like that for a long time, wrapped in each other's warmth, while the stars watched silently above. After Talon left, everything changed. Daniel knew the commander would return. He had seen the hate in those black eyes. It was not a question of if, but when. They had days, maybe a week at most, before a Seraphim fleet arrived to destroy them both. Daniel worked faster than he had ever worked before. He barely slept. He barely ate. Every hour, he was in the hangar, fixing Yura's ship. The engine was almost complete. The navigation system was ready. He just needed a little more time. Yura helped him. She could not do the detailed work that Daniel did, but she was strong. She lifted heavy parts. She held things in place while he welded. They worked side by side, barely talking. Both of them focused on the same goal. On the third night after Talon's visit, Yura found Daniel asleep at his workbench. His head was resting on a pile of tools, and there were dark circles under his eyes. She watched him for a moment, her golden eyes soft. Then she picked him up. He was light in her arms, like a child. She carried him to his bed and laid him down gently. He stirred but did not wake. "Foolish human," she whispered. "Destroying yourself to save me." She sat beside his bed and watched him sleep. In the dim light, she could see his face clearly. He was not handsome by Seraphim standards. He was small and soft, with no scales, no claws, no wings. Among her people, he would be considered weak and worthless. But Yura knew better now. She had seen his strength. Not the strength of muscles or weapons, but something deeper. The strength to be kind when it was easier to be cruel. The strength to help a stranger when it was safer to run away. The strength to stand against impossible odds for someone he cared about. Humans were not weak. They were different. And Daniel Park was the most different human she had ever met. The next morning, Daniel woke up confused. He did not remember walking to his bed. He found Yura in the kitchen making breakfast. She had finally learned how to cook eggs without crushing them. "You need to rest," she said, putting a plate in front of him. "You will be useless to me if you collapse." Daniel ate the eggs. They were a little burned, but he did not complain. "We don't have time to rest. Talon could come back any day." "I know," Yura said. She sat down across from him, her tail curling around the legs of the chair. "Daniel, I have been thinking. When the ship is ready, I should leave alone. You could stay here. Tell them you were my prisoner. They might spare you." Daniel stopped eating. "What? It is the logical choice," Yura said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sad. "Talon wants me, not you. If I am gone, he has no reason to hurt you." "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard," Daniel said. Yura blinked. "Excuse me? I'm not letting you fly off alone to face a whole fleet," Daniel said. He pushed his plate away. "We're in this together. I made that choice when I pulled you out of that wreck. I made it again when I faced Talon. I'm not changing my mind now. But why?" Yura leaned forward, her claws pressed against the table. "I have asked you this before, and you did not give me a true answer. Why do you care so much about my survival? I am nothing to you. A stranger from another world." Daniel was quiet for a moment. He looked at his hands. They were rough and scarred from years of work. Not the hands of a warrior, just the hands of a mechanic. 3 years, he said finally. "I've been alone on this moon for 3 years. No friends, no family, just me and the machines. I told myself I was happy. I told myself I didn't need anyone. But I was lying." He looked up at her. "Then you crashed here. And suddenly, there was someone else. Someone who talked to me. Someone who laughed at my stupid jokes. Someone who sat with me and watched movies and asked me questions about my life like it actually mattered." His voice was shaking now, but he kept going. For the first time in years, I felt like I existed. Like I wasn't just some forgotten mechanic on some forgotten moon. You made me feel real, Yura. You made me feel like I mattered. And I can't go back to being alone again. I just can't. Yura stared at him. Her golden eyes were wide. For a long moment, she did not speak. Then she stood up. She walked around the table. She knelt down in front of Daniel so that her face was level with his. Among the seraphim, she said quietly, to show such vulnerability would be shameful. We are taught to hide our feelings, to be strong, to never let anyone see our weakness. She reached out and took his hands in her claws. Her touch was gentle. But I am learning that your human way is different. You believe that sharing your weakness with another makes you stronger. That opening your heart is not defeat. That love is not something to be ashamed of. She leaned closer. Her forehead touched his. I am still learning, Daniel Park. I am still confused by your strange customs. But I know one thing now. I know that I do not want to leave you. I know that when I am with you, I feel something I have never felt before. Is this what you call love? Daniel's heart was beating so fast he thought it might explode. I think so, he whispered. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yura smiled. It was not her usual fierce smile with all her teeth showing. It was softer, warmer, more human. Then I will stay, she said. Whatever happens, I will stay with you. She kissed him. It was careful and gentle, her lips warm against his. He could feel her fangs, sharp and dangerous, but she did not hurt him. She held him like he was something precious, something worth protecting. When they pulled apart, Daniel was crying. He was not ashamed of it. Not anymore. We're going to be okay, he said. I don't know how, but we're going to be okay. Yura nodded. Together. They spent the rest of the day working on the ship. But now there was something different between them. A new understanding. A new connection. When their hands touched, they smiled. When their eyes met, they did not look away. Daniel did not know what the future held. He did not know if they would survive the coming storm. But he knew one thing for certain. Whatever happened, he would not face it alone, and that made all the difference. Late that night, as they sat together watching the stars through the station window, Yura rested her head on Daniel's shoulder. Her wing wrapped around him like a blanket. Tell me about Earth, she said. Tell me about the oceans. And Daniel talked. He talked about blue water stretching to the horizon, about waves crashing on white sand, about dolphins and whales and ships with white sails. He painted pictures with his words, and Yura listened with wonder in her golden eyes. I would like to see it someday, she said. Your Earth. Maybe you will, Daniel said. Maybe we both will. It was a small hope. But in that moment, sitting together in the warmth of each other's company, it felt like enough. The warship came on the 7th day. Daniel saw it first on the station's old radar system. It was a massive signal, bigger than anything he had ever tracked. He ran to the window and looked up. The sky was filled with metal. Talon's warship hung in the darkness like a black sword, blocking out the stars. Yura, he shouted. They're here. She came running from the hangar, her wings spread wide, her eyes blazing with golden fire. When she saw the ship, her face hardened. He brought a destroyer, she said. One shot from its main cannon will turn this station to dust. Daniel's heart sank. All his defenses, all his plasma turrets and electromagnetic pulses would be worthless against a ship like that. They were going to die. The communication system crackled to life. Talon's voice filled the station, cold and cruel. Little mechanic. Elder sister. Your game is over. Yura, you will come to me now. If you do not, I will reduce that pathetic moon to rubble. You have 5 minutes to decide. The communication cut off. Silence fell. Daniel looked at Yura. She was standing very still, her claws clenched into fists. He could see the pain in her eyes, the fear, the resignation. "I will go to him," she said. "It is the only way." "No," Daniel said. "There is no other choice. He will kill you. He will destroy everything. I cannot let that happen because of me." "No," Daniel said again. He grabbed her hand. "Listen to me. I have an idea. It's crazy. It might not work, but I need you to trust me." Yura looked at him. "Daniel, do you trust me?" She was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. "Yes, I trust you." Daniel ran to the communication console. His fingers flew across the controls. He had spent years alone on this station, and in that time, he had explored every system, every frequency, every hidden feature, including one he had never had a reason to use before, the emergency distress beacon. Every human station in the galaxy was connected to the Galactic Human Defense Coalition. It was a network designed to protect human colonies from threats. Daniel had never activated it because there had never been a threat. Until now, he sent the signal. It was a simple message. "Station Kepler 7 under attack by hostile alien warship. Request immediate assistance." Then he waited. 3 minutes passed. Talon's warship grew larger in the sky, its weapons glowing with deadly energy. 2 minutes. 1 minute. "Daniel," Yura said. Her voice was tight with fear. "Nothing is happening. We must." Then the sky split open. 3 massive ships burst out of hyperspace. They were human ships, but not like anything Daniel had seen before. They were sleek and deadly, covered in guns and missile launchers. Their hulls painted with the flag of Earth. Each ship was half the size of Talon's warship. But together they formed a wall of firepower. The communication system crackled again. A human voice came through, strong and confident. "This is Captain Linda Hayes of the Human Defense Coalition. Unknown vessel. You are targeting a protected human installation. Power down your weapons and withdraw immediately, or we will open fire." Talon's voice came back, filled with rage. "You dare threaten the Seraphim Empire? We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your pathetic species is nothing." "Maybe," Captain Hayes replied. "But right now, you're 3 against 1. And I've been waiting a long time to test our new plasma cannons on something bigger than an asteroid. So please, give me a reason." For a long moment, nothing happened. The 4 ships hung in the sky, weapons locked on each other. Daniel held his breath. Then Talon's warship began to move. Slowly, like a wounded animal, it turned away from the moon. Its engines fired, and it shot into the darkness of space. Daniel collapsed into a chair. His whole body was shaking. It worked. It actually worked. The communication system crackled one more time. "Station Kepler 7, this is Captain Hayes. Are you okay down there?" Daniel laughed. It was a wild, relieved laugh that came from deep in his chest. Yeah, we're okay." "Thank you. Thank you so much." "No problem. We've been itching for some action out here. The Seraphim have been getting too comfortable lately. About time someone pushed back." There was a pause. "We'll stick around for a few days. Make sure they don't come back. If you need anything, let us know." The communication ended. Daniel turned to Yura. She was staring at him with an expression he had never seen before. It was shock, wonder, and something that looked like love all mixed together. "You called your people," she said. "You called for help." "Yeah," Daniel said. "I guess I did." Yura walked toward him. Her footsteps were heavy on the floor. She stood in front of him, towering above him, her golden eyes wet with tears. Among the Seraphim, asking for help is weakness. We are taught to face our enemies alone, to die with honor rather than accept assistance. She shook her head slowly. But you called for help without shame. And your people came. They came for you. That's the human way, Daniel said. We're not strong on our own. But together we're pretty tough. Yura knelt down. She took his face in her clawed hands, gentle as always. I have spent my whole life believing strength meant standing alone. I was wrong. She smiled, her sharp teeth showing. Humans are not weak, Daniel Park. They are strong in a way I never understood. They are strong because they have each other. She leaned forward and kissed him. It was not gentle this time. It was fierce and passionate, filled with all the emotion she had been holding back. Daniel kissed her back, wrapping his arms around her neck, pulling her close. When they finally broke apart, they were both breathing hard. What happens now? Daniel asked Dot why Yura stood up. She looked out the window at the 3 human ships hanging in the sky. Now, I think I would like to learn more about your people, about your strange customs and your beautiful world. Is that your way of saying you're staying? She smiled. You still have not finished repairing my ship, little mechanic. And I believe you promised to show me another movie. Daniel laughed. I have a whole collection. We could watch one every night for years. Good, Yura said. She wrapped her wing around his shoulder, pulling him close. I think I would like that. They stood together at the window, watching the stars. The danger was not over. Talon would return someday. The Seraphim Empire would not forget this insult. There were hard times ahead, but Daniel was not afraid. For the first time in his life, he was not alone. He had Yura. He had his people. He had a future worth fighting for. The little mechanic from the Forgotten Moon had faced down an empire. And he had won, not because he was strong, not because he was brave, but because he had learned the most important lesson of all. Sometimes, the greatest strength is knowing you cannot do it alone. Sometimes the bravest thing is to ask for help. And sometimes, the strangest friendships become the greatest loves. Yura rested her head on his shoulder. Her scales were warm against his skin. Tell me more about Earth, she said. Tell me about the sunsets. And Daniel talked. He talked about golden light and painted skies and warm summer evenings. He painted pictures with his words, and Yura listened with wonder in her eyes. Somewhere out in the darkness, the stars kept turning. Somewhere, enemies were planning revenge. Somewhere, the universe kept its secrets. But here, on a small moon at the edge of nowhere, a human and a dragon watched the sky together. And that was enough. That was everything.